Have you ever wanted to play a single-player, story and character-driven game set in your favourite fantasy world? Is that favourite fantasy world Tolkien's Middle-earth? Well, I've got news for you. You may be doing just that in 2022, as there is a game set in the wonderfully expansive world of Middle-earth coming out, in which you play as, you guessed it, Gollum? Before we jump into the video, I ask that you like and subscribe with post notifications on so you don't miss a thing from your favourite variety channel. With that being said, let's do it. Here is everything we know about Lord of the Rings Gollum. The Lord of the Rings Gollum is a story-driven action-adventure. Take on a perilous journey as Gollum, chasing the only thing that is precious to him. Climb, leap and sneak your way past dangers or into advantageous spots. Gollum is skillful and sly, but also torn by his split personality. It's up to you to decide whether the darker side of Gollum takes over, or if there is a spark of reason left in what once was Smeagol. This game is being both published and developed by the team over at Daedalic Entertainment with the guidance and approval of Middle-earth Enterprises, who hold the adaptation rights to the original series of novels by Tolkien. This in and of itself is a great sign as to the quality of this game and its worth as an official piece of media in the Tolkien world. So if you're worried about that aspect of things, I think it's safe to say you've nothing to worry about on that front. Now, as for the actual game and what it's about, here's what we know. The game will follow corrupted hobbit Smeagol, or Gollum, and his search for his beloved precious, the One Ring of Sauron. To put things into perspective, this game takes place after the events of the Hobbit novel and before the events of the Lord of the Rings series. The game is confirmed to pick up from Gollum's time as a slave beneath the Dark Tower of Barad-dûr, and follow Gollum as he makes his escape and journeys from Mordor to the forests of Mirkwood and further into the mines of Moria and beyond in search of the One Ring. This is a pretty interesting time period to set the game in, but if you've seen my dream game video, link in description, you know just how much I would have preferred this game to star my boy Legolas. But Gollum is an intriguing character, so I'm quite looking forward to seeing what they do with him. And since this period of time between The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings is relatively unknown, this gives the developers a great deal of freedom with the story, which is always fantastic. And speaking of the story, we know there's going to be some form of a decision-based system in the game, which is evidently par for the course with games these days. But in this game, it will be based on whether we choose to embrace Gollum's dark side or fight to preserve what's left of Smeagol, and I think that's actually quite cool. The duality between Smeagol and Gollum has always been my favourite part of the character, and I can't wait to explore that in depth in this game. I'm interested to see how this is actually going to work though, considering this game is supposedly canon, but we'll see. Moving on from the story, here's what we know about the gameplay and general structure of the game. This isn't going to be another Shadow of Mordor, no big battles and elven magic. This is a stealth-oriented game. Gollum's goal isn't to avenge his family by killing every orc he sees. He just wants to sneak through unnoticed by anyone. So that's already a clear difference between this and the previous Lord of the Rings adjacent games we've had in the last few years. It's always great to experience a known world from an entirely different perspective, and that's what we're getting from this game. We see this through the game's distinct art style in the recently released gameplay overview trailer. From the developers themselves, Lord of the Rings Gollum is a cinematic, stealth action adventure, supposedly combining stealth and parkour to create an engaging gameplay system in order to then leverage Daedalic's apparent expertise in creating engaging stories. All good things here from Daedalic. I'm a huge fan of stealth games, and I'm all for a Lord of the Rings based stealth game. We are reminded later on that many characters in this world have it out for Gollum and either want him enslaved or dead, which leads to the reveal of a few significant characters in Tolkien's legendarium making their appearance in this game. Some of these being the Mouth of Sauron, Gandalf, and even Thranduil, King of the Woodland Realm and father of Legolas. Now the fact that they've said this feels like a sure sign that he's going to appear in the game, and if he doesn't, you best believe there'll be issues. Me and Daedalic will be beefing. But putting my love for a fictional character aside, the designs for not only these characters but the world they inhabit seems to be highly faithful to the source material while also feeling original to Daedalic's art style, and that's great to see. It was also revealed that the game will make use of next-gen features like ray tracing and the PS5's DualSense controller. This will only help to make the game feel like something new in the game industry, so if you care about that kind of stuff, there's your reason to get gassed. Overall, I'm fairly optimistic about this game. It's clear to see that there's passion being put into the development of it, and that will always warrant my attention. Also, I should definitely mention that in the game's press release, it was actually announced that there are plans to develop several Middle-earth games in the future following the release of The Lord of the Rings Gollum, which is great news for fans. This just goes to show how much faith Middle-earth enterprises have in Daedalic to deliver a game that at the very least is financially beneficial for them. I'm interested to see what they do with the future games. If I had to guess, I would say they're going to do a separate story for each game. So in the way we have a game about Gollum here, in the next game we could maybe follow a young Aragorn, or maybe even the main elf himself, Legolas. Sort of an anthology series of games in that way. Whatever they decide to do, I'll be keeping a watchful eye on the whole thing. And with that, we wrap up today's video. If you did enjoy the video, be sure to go ahead and drop a like and subscribe for me. Also, real quick, just want to say a massive thanks for all the love on the Hogwarts Legacy video. It's by far my most successful video, and it means a lot to have something you work hard on get that bit of recognition, so cheers for that. But with that being said, I've been Ben, and I sincerely hope you enjoyed. Peace.